So I would venture that the renewable energy is not enough to speak about the material. We also speak about economic structures. The idea we have in mind is to go towards an economy, in particular an energy economy, where you don't have anymore a few giant producers of energy, but you have hundreds of thousands, millions of small producers and small points of productions that are interconnected. If you may say so, small, yes, and small is beautiful, but at the same time, connectivity, interconnectedness of small, relatively autonomous units. Now, third, what is the major conflict today? I would say the major conflict can be understood now. It is on the one hand between a fossil centralized path and on the other hand a solar decentralized path. Because, I mean, let's be serious, everybody knows that we have scarcity and climate crisis. That's not the issue anymore. The issue is how are we going to deal with it? And there is the fossil centralized path that tries to go for expanding supply. Nuclear, maybe moving from oil to gas, maybe to go for industrial biomass, big plantations, maybe going for new coal power, clean coal. I mean, I know that the Dutch are very obsessed with cleanliness, but our Dutch friend praised clean coal. I think the Dutch idealism for cleanliness is misplaced there. Clean coal is going to be an illusion. It is, if you want, a cover-up for getting the coal industry and coal power generation going in the future. So that, for me, is part of the fossil centralized path, which reinforces the heritage of central structures coming from the fossil times. And of course, on the other hand, there's the solar decentralized path, and that is what many people are kind of going for. Small but interconnected. You want first, of course, to bring down the voracity for energy. You want to go for small and interconnected units. And of course, you want to have, if you want, distributed energy generation, using the metaphor from computing, distributed computing, just as much as many computers, personal computers, can substitute for a big mainframe computer. In a very much the same way, many small energy producers on the roof, on the field, the biogenerator there, can substitute for a gigantic power plant. So that is basically the idea of the decentralized solar path, and these two paths today are in conflict. On very many levels, I invite you to read today's conflict in this way. My fourth point. Yes, renewables are nice, but why is it that renewables need to be linked to moderation? I have some of my renewable friends who, to my mind, come up with the same illusion which we used to know, which we know from the fossil times. The illusion that you can have an infinite energy source. That is not going to be true for renewables either. Of course, renewables at the end are finite as anything else. To give you some examples, of course, biomass, all the examples notwithstanding Gunther showed us, biomass at the end is linked to land. And land is very scarce, and many things can be done and should be done with land. Wind, of course, we know the conflicts about landscape, we know the conflicts about noise. Water, we know, of course, the conflicts about dams. We know about that water courses are being, ecosystems of water courses might be disturbed. Solar, we know that conversion technologies like solar panels or photovoltaics, of course, require energy, require materials, also highly sophisticated materials. For that reason, I would like to submit renewables cannot liberate us from the need to move from an age of excess to an age of moderation. It would only be possible on an intermediate level of performance that we can really use renewable energies. If you want dematerialization on the one hand, having a resource-light economy, and moderation on the other hand, having all the intermediate aspirations are the necessary complements for regeneration.